So, I have a query for the governing bodies, and that is based on this. This past week, a number of us had a roundtable discussion led by New Futures and hosted by TLC regarding the expansion of Medicaid and its impact to our community. While the policy question of whether to expand Medicaid or not was decided in the affirmative by the House of Representatives, the question of how to pay for it is being addressed by the House Finance Committee. New Futures is asking communities and residents of those communities to contact House Finance Committee members and House Representatives. Access to health care is a community issue, so my question to the governing bodies is if I have the ability, well, if I have the time to draft a letter to the House Finance Committee and to the entire House in general in support of Medicaid expansion, would you, once you have seen the content of that letter, want to sign off as both a school board and superintendent as well as the city council and city manager? When we went to that roundtable discussion, they had some statistics to share with us, and basically about 913 people in Claremont alone have accessed Medicaid expansion. And we've talked about health and a number of issues and how important it is, not only to the children who wouldn't be part of Medicaid expansion because it's 19 to 64, but having children go home to families that have access to health care and are healthier because they have access to health care, I think does impact learning for the students. So if that is something you would like to sign off on, if I am able to draft the letter and then send it, I'll send it to our council clerk for distribution to the city council for your read, and then to the superintendent for the school board. But basically, the House Finance Committee will be meeting, I think, on Thursday, so I have to draft this tomorrow and get it out tomorrow for you to sign off on. If you're okay with it, then we'll forward that letter to the House Finance Committee through their secretary, whoever that may be, and they'll get it to the people before they vote.
I think that's the plan.
Okay? So that's that action step. The next is in scheduling our June meeting. I'm assuming that we want to have a meeting in June. Our first one was in January. We didn't do March. We're kind of at the end of April here because of the change in the school board. So if we got back on schedule to be quarterly, it would be June. We could do it at the end of June.
After graduation and everything.
Yes, yeah. Because if you're up for a joint meeting in June, one of the agenda items would be inviting our legislators to the meeting, because if we have legislative items that we want addressed in the next session, we've got to start doing it in June, because if it's new legislation, it has to be worked on and drafted and ready for submittal as an LSR in the fall. So and this is, I'm speaking for Representative Gagnon at this point, he is not running for the next session. And I don't know what the status of Representative O'Connor is, or Gauthier. Representative Cloutier is running, and Senator Hennessy is running again. So for sure, they would be very important people to have at that meeting. Representative Cloutier said if we give him enough notice, he would be available in June. So it would be best suited for a joint meeting. We've talked about it at the council, but this way we can kill two birds with one stone, because there's legislation that we've got to address that deals with funding for the school district. And then on the city side, there's plenty of legislation that we need to revisit, one of which is Mr. McNutt has authored, that we started this session but needs to go back. So
Are you looking for a date in June?
yeah, and if people want to do the meeting with the legislators.
Well, if I may, looking at the calendars of city council and school board and SAU 6 school board, I would propose June 21st, Thursday.
That's a Thursday?
So do we have a school board meeting the 20th?
We have a school board meeting on the 20th, yes, we do.
Does that meet everybody's, okay, June 21st, Thursday, okay? So I would expect, we try to keep these to 2 hours, plus or minus. Having a couple of agenda items is probably all we can deal with. That would be, we have to be well-prepared if we're going to take the legislators' time with the roundtable, so let's work on that in preparation for that meeting. And we're asking, if I understand everybody correctly, to have the communications proposal come back for a second visit. Is that correct? Yep,